Hey Janelle.
Hey Malik, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great.
Great. I'm so glad to hear it. I'm excited to be recording.
I can see that. No one else can, but I can. All right, so welcome to Coffee Chai Chats, guys.
We're glad to have you here. Thanks for tuning in.
Oh my goodness.
So, Malik, what are you drinking today?
Decided to go ahead and have some coffee. It's a really dark French roast made by Wicked Coffee, Wicked
Mm,
Joe. I think that's what it's called, Wicked Joe. But they make different types of different blends. So this is just French roast though, which is really good. It's not as brutal as some dark roasts are because they can be really, really bitter, but that's okay.
okay. I am just drinking water because I just finished a bike ride and I did not feel like having coffee. I was like, nope, I need to have water right now. Um, but I had coffee this morning from this tiny coffee shop in Tillamook, Oregon. That my friend that I met for breakfast this morning, she had some left over. And so she gave me some this morning. I don't remember anything about the package other than it was like a little brown bag.
The best kind of coffee, just in a
Mhm.
brown bag.
It had writing and stuff on it, but I don't remember any of the details. But it was yummy. It was like mm, like a, I don't know any flavors to describe coffee. I have no idea how to explain it, but it was yummy. It was like an airier taste, but I don't know if that makes sense. I need to learn this. I want to study this, but I don't make time for it because I'm doing a lot of things.
Well, just add that to your pile of homework.
There's so much homework in life right now. So yeah, that's my exciting news in the world of coffee when my brain is not working and I can't remember what exactly I drank, but it was yummy.
Hey, that's all that really matters. As long as it tastes good, it's fine.
There you go. Um, okay. So we're gonna try something a little bit different. We've been messing around with the format and going back and forth between quick chats and our formal episodes for a while. And we decided that it would maybe be better for everybody, for ourselves, and for everybody tuning in, if we just did one format all the time. So we're kind of blending quick chats and the formal episodes a tiny bit, and we're gonna see how it goes. So let us know what you think. In all of the regular ways that we tell you every week. And if you like it, tell somebody else and give us reviews because those are helpful.
Definitely. Yep. So we should expect that mostly is going to be kind of the quick chat format, but we will still do the quote unquote formal intro because I love to know what coffee we're having. So not changing that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. So yeah, as you know, I've been packing. It's been super, super fun in the most sarcastic way possible. So that has been exhausting, but it's coming along pretty good. Have about 10 more days before I have to be completely done. And in between, obviously, I'll be working and traveling. So that's going to be exciting. We have to
Where are you
go.
traveling?
We're going up to the house so we can
Oh,
clean stuff and get stuff moved around and prepare the way. So we're not just showing up with the giant truck and hey, let's just dump everything out the out of the truck. So we're trying not to do that. Have to go prepare to get the storage unit and stuff too. So there are some prep stuff we have to do before we actually try to move in. So that's gonna be exciting. But yeah, so really there are five or 6 days for actual packing. So that'll
ugh.
be exciting.
I totally forgot. This is actually relevant to something I want to talk to you more about later. But there is potential for me to be moving in August. And I'm already excited about packing because I like packing. I like trying to make everything as efficient as humanly possible. I'm like, how do we make sure everything is exactly where it needs to be so I can find it later and so it fits in the fewest number of boxes? So I'm like already in that state of like, ooh, I gotta pack up these things. What do I need to get rid of? How do I get rid of things? But I also thought it was funny because last time you moved, I had just moved. And now you're moving and I might be about to move.
Oh, that's exciting. I didn't know you were moving. That's good. The earlier you can start packing, the better. I attempted to start packing in March, but April kind of went by really, really fast.
Hmm.
So here we are, June, last down to the last 2 weeks, and I would say we're probably 75% packed, but that last 25 is taking a lot more time than I thought it was going to take. Of course, because we have a lot more stuff than we used to. Way more stuff. After, combining all the things we had, then we bought more stuff when we moved to San Antonio, and then we got gifts from the wedding. But that also didn't stop me from buying stuff outside of that. So we've just continued to amass more things. Still getting rid of things, still donating things, but we never just get rid of. There's something always coming in to take its place. Even if it's a completely different type of item, it still takes up room. So that has been illuminating. There are 18 boxes in my living room right now of varying sizes, mostly like the big husky bins. Most of them are like that. And I have at least four more boxes to put together, at least. And that still doesn't include the clothing, I don't think.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
yeah, there's plenty of stuff. Honestly, the kitchen's going to take two boxes probably to put away. Just the kitchen stuff by itself. So there's that.
Yeah, I don't think I myself could fill 18 boxes unless I started filling boxes with like 4 books each. That
Yeah.
would be difficult.
Yeah. I understand. You like to stay as slim and sleek as possible. It's just like, no, if it doesn't need to be here, I'm not keeping it outside of your box of crafts, as we learned. That one thing you kind of let go. But yeah, it's so strange though, because I've taken everything off the walls. So the walls are so, everything
Ooh.
echoes so much more in the apartment because there's nothing on the walls to blanket any sound. So it's kind of weird. It's like all that work we put into putting stuff up has to be undone. Now we use mostly push bins and command strips, so they're really easy to get down. So it's not that
Mhm.
difficult, but still, it's not fun. Not fun.
Oh yeah, I hate bare walls. My living room still has barren walls, and it makes me really sad all the time. So I'm like trying to make the furniture look taller and trying to convince my roommate that he needs a very specific painting, but I want him to have it because I don't want to take it with me ever again. I want it to stay with him. But
That's a shame.
I hate bare walls. They're so sad and empty, and it just makes it feel like nobody lives there. So when for a brief time I was staying elsewhere during COVID-19 and like when it was in more full force and I asked people to just draw pictures for me and I drew pictures so I could put them up on the wall because I was like, I don't want to sit in here if the walls are empty. I can't do it.
Yep. So you just over commissioning paintings and stuff, huh? I
Uh-huh.
remember. Did you pay for those, huh? Did you pay for them?
Well, she's sick, so no.
Could be paid for in cookies and candy. That's
Oh,
still
she
a
gets
valid form.
so many cookies and so much candy. She does not need it anymore. She needs
But
distractions. She needs creative outlets.
also cookie and candy sounds like. I think you owe her four cookies and a bag of candy.
Well,
Whatever.
it's too late now. She won't associate the reward with the work.
But you can
It's
still
done.
tell her. Terrible. Look how she is to kids. Just shameful.
I'm trying to teach good behavior and raise children with good character traits, even though she's not my child.
Takes a village though, right? Takes a
Yeah,
village.
and I am the village aunt.
Hilarious. But the worst part, honestly, about all this packing is everything is in such chaos, so much
Mm.
disarray, and we all know how I get about things being out of their place. But right now, we're packing and nothing has its place. There is no place for anything particular. The only thing we're trying to decide now is where we're going to put the things that are going into the storage versus what's going into the house. That's like the only organization there is on like actual physical organization. I downloaded 4 apps for tracking your boxes. I settled on one of them. I eliminated 2 of them really quickly because they wanted you to basically pay per collection, pay per box kind of thing. And I was like, you can add unlimited things to the box or to the little category, but you had to pay per category. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to spend $100 on different categories for an app I'm going to use once every 2 years, probably. So until we move to the house, and then I'm not using it again for a long time. So not going to do that. And the other ones just didn't have as many good features, but the one I settled on is not the prettiest by far, but it does let me print a PDF of all the boxes and what's in them.
Ooh.
So I'm like, okay, this is good. I can use this because that way I have a digital copy and a paper copy. So when we're moving, I know what's where. So I'm pretty happy about that. So I'm just and I found these apps at like 2:30 in the morning because I was just up for no reason. So I'm sitting there looking for moving apps, which you can tell you where my head's at half the time.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. When I moved, pretty much everything was in the place where it normally is. So like I've adjusted and things have moved, but like the books stayed in the crates. So that when I got here, I just had to like rearrange them so they weren't packed in super tight. I don't know. I didn't bring very many boxes. Or if
Yeah.
there were like boxes of boxes. I don't
Yeah.
know.
You extremely downsized when you moved. You were like, I'm not taking nothing. Doesn't fit in the car. It's not coming. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you went crazy small on that. I still am impressed, to be honest.
Well,
I'm
thank
still
you.
impressed.
I'm thinking about if I do move in August, I'm thinking I will probably try to make everything fit in my car. I'm thinking my boyfriend will probably want to insist that I take everything in his truck. I'm like, no, 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 no. You don't understand.
I can't downsize if I have a truck.
It's a mental state. You can't mess with the mental state. So we shall see. I will keep you posted on whether or not I move.
Good.
Yeah, so downsizing, it's a big thing for me. I like to keep things tight and contained as much as possible, but then I move into a place and everything just explodes because I'm a messy person. But it has a spot most of the time. There are a couple random trinkets that do not have a spot that are sitting in a basket on the floor right now that give me grief because I want them to have a spot and they don't have a spot.
Yeah, there are always those few things that you have that you were given or you bought because you thought it was cool, but they don't
Hmm.
have an actual spot because they don't fit with other things.
Yeah.
So, like all the Funko Pops I have, they really don't fit with anything else I own, but they end up on the bookshelf because it's a flat surface. I would rather, I have plenty of books, but I moved a lot of books to another bookshelf so that
Yeah.
I could fit them.
I
But
think
they don't really belong there per se. I would rather have a shelf on the wall for them away from the books because I would rather have a bigger space that can grow. The collection can grow.
yeah. I think that's a pretty good spot for Funko Pops because they I'm a weirdo who I spend a lot of time studying, not a lot of time, but I spend more time than probably the average person does looking up bookshelf design. And not like how to design the bookshelf structure wise, but like how to make sure it looks nice with what's on it. So it's like you should have some books and you should have some other things that reflect your personality. And if those Funko Pops reflect your personality, then they should help decorate the bookshelf and break up the books.
Yeah, although I would still rather them be in their own thing.
That's fine.
Now, well, it's also a mental thing of giving me permission to buy more
Uh,
because there's more space. Like if there's a shelf with like 8 of them and the shelf can hold 20, that means I have 12 to buy to fill the shelf. kind of way my mugs expand too. It's kind of in that same fashion where there's room
Mm-hmm.
on the shelf, so I can keep buying. Now, it doesn't stop me from buying more shelving space. That doesn't stop, but
Because then all of a sudden you have more mugs than you have space for. So you need to buy more space for the more mugs. So then you
just
get more mugs to fill up the space that you just bought, and it just.
yep. And all of this makes it really hard to move and really hard to pack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's 2 bins worth of mugs.
Oh
So yeah, it's a
my
lot.
gosh.
So yeah. So I realize I've picked up what I call COVID hobbies. Stuff I've only started doing because
Ooh, like
of
what?
the real. So I used to never really like journal at all. Now it's just like something to like keep my brain occupied.
Mm-hmm.
The other bad thing is being on Twitter 24/7. That's another like basically a hobby now because I'm on it so much, but for all the worst reasons because it's just more sad stuff. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, less Twitter. Less Twitter is probably good. But yeah, those are a couple things I do. I play a lot of Clash of Clans, even more than I did before, because it's like I have to just it's like I just need to focus on anything else. So Clash has been pretty good for just keeping my mind on something else, even though it's ridiculous. I watch a lot of Twitch streams just for gaming and stuff, so it's a ridiculous waste of time, but it's fun anyway. So
Oh, you're ridiculous. Uh, what was? Be careful about journaling. If you get too into it, you'll have a ton of notebooks.
yo, you're absolutely right. So I started like years ago starting it, right? And then I was like, okay, I was just buying journals and they were just sitting around not used because I wasn't consistent. But it's like, oh, I have to have this journal, but this journal type is cool. So I was just buying them like a crazy person. So now it's like, okay, have the one. And it's actually easier to do it because there's some like day one on the app for your phone or iPad or whatever is really good about like just letting you do it pretty quickly without you having to buy pen and paper, which is a fantastic like resource because the pen and paper starts adding up. I buy enough pens just in general. I don't need to get into buying fancy pens for my journaling because that's a bad situation.
Yeah, I once you start writing in journals consistently, you get lots of journals and you can't get rid of them. Or at least I feel like I can't get rid of them. I'm like, that's my stuff. I like to go back and look at it and see what I was thinking way back then. So I got this one. I just happened to have it within reach. I got it. It'll say in here. In 2010. January 1st, 2010. So I probably got it for Christmas or my birthday. One of those two.
Mm.
Um, and it's really interesting to see the way my handwriting has changed. But it's also really funny to read. Like, I like to read this page because I think it's really funny. Um, I'm like writing, 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 and I get to a point where I say, hold on. I'm talking like I would. I'm like, what am I doing? And I'm like correcting myself in the middle of journaling. I don't know. It's very much a. But yeah, it's fun to go back and read what I was thinking back in high school, but also real dumb.
So when I stopped journaling and stopped just like doing notes by hand and stuff like that, I just shredded them all. I just have a shredder, just rip out the pages, shred, throw the rest of the pages away. Because at some point, it's like, if it's more than 2 years, it's probably not relevant anymore. Get rid of it. So that's some of the things I'm not particularly emotional about keeping. I just get rid of it. That's the one thing that's easy for me to downsize. Paper stuff.
I have a really hard time with paper stuff. I have so I hit 2 years in Oregon just a week ago. Um, and in that time, I've amassed a lot of stuff. Not like a ton, but definitely more than I showed up with. And I'm a little concerned about when I do eventually move, how is all of this going to fit? I might have to downsize again. But it's so crazy that like you just are constantly collecting things, constantly amassing stuff. It doesn't matter. You will always get more stuff.
Well, also, when you downsize before a move, it's likely that you're getting rid of things you might need.
Oh, I
Or you
didn't.
would, well, sure. Well, you probably needed to buy more stuff before then to have, but that's beside the point. Like cookware and go for
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff. But a lot of times, with us, I know we would get rid of some. I was like, oh, we'll just replace that later, and we'll replace it with something bigger than the previous thing we had or the previous version, like our table. We had a kind of cheapy table. I think we got it from IKEA, maybe, but it was a real thin. It was a small table. The table now is at least twice as big. Like the wood's better. There's a shelf on it. The seats are bigger. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So it's like sometimes the upgrades are chaotic. So yeah, got this giant table, but we are going to not at least take all the bookshelves. Like one bookshelf in here, I've had for a long time. It was my first like quote unquote adult thing I got for my birthday. One year, it was like one year I got some cooking stuff, but then I got this bookshelf with the doors on and everything. It's really nice, but in the last move, it kind of got damaged. So it's been holding it together with like duct tape at this
Aw.
point. So it's not. It probably won't survive another move. So we're not going to risk basically taking it and it falling apart on us halfway there, kind of thing. And then the other smaller bookshelf we have, it was never in good condition. We just took it anywhere anyway because want to we didn't want to have to buy another one at the time. So it's leaning up against the wall at an angle. That's the only way it's still standing. So there's that. So at least we're going to get rid of some stuff. A little bit of downsizing. It's going to be great.
You got it. Um, cool. So packing, moving. How are you dealing with that? Is it stressing you out?
Oh, absolutely. Super stressful. And only because with all the other stuff going on, just like at work, transitioning between departments, still managing the old department I was in at the same time, then also getting used to all the other people in my new department. It's been a lot going on. So I don't have as much time as I thought. Enough mental time to continue to pack as effectively as I want to. So it's like, okay, got to get the packing done at some point. So now it's buckle down time, but it's definitely been a lot more stuff than I thought was going to interfere with my packing. Because usually before I move, everything is very like I pare everything down, but I don't do anything. I don't go anywhere. And it's like we get this under control, we pare it down, and now it's packing time. We'll get ready to move. That's not been the case this year, so it's been super fun.
Ugh. So how have you been dealing with that? How have you been coping?
Honestly, mostly Clash of Clans. Let me be honest. Clash of Clans and watching Twitch videos and falling down YouTube rabbit holes has kind of been the entire stress reduction method. At work, they got us these little what they call 2020 survival kit, little buckets with stuff, and there's glow in the dark thinking putty in here. So I smush that around every now and then. I'd never even heard of this, so here it is.
That
From
sounds better than a stress ball.
yeah, Crazy Errands. That's the brand.
Okay.
Never even heard of it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
we were talking about those baskets of junk. Two of the things in there that I really should just throw away, but one of them has like a tiny bit of sentimental value. Um, are stress balls. I'm like, what do you do with a stress ball? I'm like, I don't use them. That's not how I deal with stress. That's not what I do. They're
Throw
just
it at the wall.
there. That's what tennis balls are for, and I have lots of those.
Why do you have tennis balls? Why? Why is that? What is going on?
Uh, I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that, but they traveled with me from Texas. They
Oh,
made the list.
how? I don't understand. Now, mind you, you don't play tennis.
Uh-uh. I played
Like
for one semester freshman year of high school. So like 10 years ago.
that is Hilarious. I don't know why you have tennis balls.
Because they're fun. Like
And
you
it's
can juggle with them, you can throw them at the wall, you can play wall ball with them, you can just toss them around, you can play catch. They're useful.
it's not even a good brand you have. I saw that.
I know. I don't care because I'm
I
not
know
playing
you don't
tennis with
care.
them. If I was playing tennis with them, then I might care a little bit and want to get a better brand. But because I'm just using them just to throw around, it doesn't matter.
That's sad.
You're sad.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, don't be sad. I was kidding.
Yeah. So yeah, there'll be some things I would love to start back doing because a lot of my old hobbies, like one, like playing tennis, that's that was great. I went for a while. I was going and playing a lot, and then I got married, and then like the entire planning process took up the entire fall and winter, well, half of winter and the fall. So just that quick. And then ever since then, obviously everything's gone crazy with COVID. So you really can't go play until very recently. And now I'm getting ready to move. So when I get back settled, I will start playing tennis again because that would be great. I also have 3 books I've started that I really need to finish because I
Only
really
three?
like them. Well, I try not to start them unless I pretty committed to finishing them. Everything just got a little bit chaotic lately. So, yeah, I think it's just 3.
Yeah, I always have at least 4 books that I'm reading at any given time. I think we've talked about this before. Uh, yeah,
That seems
reading
a
is
bit
one.
excessive.
It is. I do not deny this. Um, reading is one of those things that reading and journaling are both things that I enjoyed when I was consistent about them, but I can't convince myself to enjoy them now. Like I just my brain is too scattered to sit down and do either of those things. I have to be up doing something, talking to somebody, planning something. I can't get my brain to slow down enough to enjoy those things.
Yeah, reading is so intentional, where it's like stop what
Mhm.
you're doing and sit in basically quiet, which is strange. So it takes a lot of mental discipline to do it, at
Mhm.
least for long periods of time. Because back in the day, I'm only 28, but back in the day, I could sit, for 4 or 5 hours straight, read. It's not an issue. And
Yeah.
now it's like, okay, if I do an hour, I'm great. Like it's like I've completed reading for 2 months.
Yep.
An hour, that's enough. That's part of why I switched to audiobooks because they remind me
Uh,
so much of podcasts, so I can do them while I'm moving around, so I don't have to sit still to do it, which is kind of sad on a couple levels, but hey, it's fine.
yeah, it's so sad because like same thing. I used to be able to read all the time, and that's all you would ever find me doing. Um, and if there was ever a time to be reading, I would like we're driving more than 10 minutes, I'm bringing my book. And now I'm like, I'll bring my book, but I probably won't crack it open because I'm so distracted by the 16 million other things I need to do.
Yep.
I
So
think
the
those
other,
are like the only hobbies I ever really had.
what,
Reading.
reading and journaling?
Oh, and writing. Oh, okay, hold on. I want to talk about this. So, I used to write a ton and I used to be really good about writing like consistently. And I get to like a certain point in a story, be like, I don't like this one anymore, but I have an idea for a different one, but I keep writing. And in the last 2, 3, 4 years, I have been really super inconsistent about it. Like I would write a short story for like an idea of a chapter for a book, and it would be like one scene, and that would be it. And I could not get past that. But then since I stopped writing for a career, which has made a huge difference. And then I have a writing friend who we meet once a month on her patio, socially distanced. Um, and we meet out there and we talk about like what are our writing goals, and we do like a writing exercise just to get our mind in like the movement of like I am writing a story.
Mhm, mhm.
So we do that. I gotta think about some. Um, And that's been really fun to get back into writing and to just see any sort of story forming and to actually think about those characters. I used to have a quote on my wall. That's not up anymore. I used to have a quote on my wall that said, "Writer's block is when your imaginary friends stop talking to you."
Oh,
And I
that's
feel like,
good.
oh, it's so good. I love it. And I feel like my imaginary friends have not talked to me in a long time. And now they're like just on the cusp. Like I can see them. They're coming back. And I'm so excited.
Maybe they're like, you're changed. She's changed. We can't talk to her anymore. I think it was your fault.
It was my fault. I definitely sent them away. It was not them. And I'm so sorry to all of my imaginary friends who make up the characters in my stories. I'm coming back. You've got Janelle back.
That's actually really interesting. You're talking about like that creative exercising that creative part of your brain because I'm trying lately to support a lot more independent creators, especially people
Mhm.
who do podcasts or people who do comedy on Instagram or whatever, just like donating to whatever. People who do like the Twitch streams I watch, just trying to give them any like little bit of help I can because I know everything is super stressful now. And I bought this challenge coin from Relay FM
Mhm.
and it says curious, creative, and obsessive on the coin, which is kind of fits right now. And it has a play pause thing on the back. So
I love it.
yeah, they're really, really heavy. So I've
Is
been
it?
trying, yeah, it's heavy. And I've been trying not to drop it the whole time because I've been like fiddling with it. It's sitting on my desk. I still have the little plastic baggie,
Of course.
so I'm trying to not get it so damaged and beat up. But it was just like, all right, cool. It's not really that expensive, and it's like the least I can do considering the hours per week I listen to their station. Like their network is 90% of the podcasts I listen to
Oh,
are
wow.
all on the same network because they're mostly tech podcasts.
Mm.
So there's tech and then productivity, and they're mostly on Relay. So it's like, okay, well, I definitely get a lot of entertainment out of it. So I decided, screw it. I also, I became a member. So you got a Discord chat you can go into and stuff. I don't really do
Cool.
that, but it's like, they've earned it from me for sure, considering all the hours per week, considering all the long podcasts I listen to.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely, it's worth it for me.
That's so cool. That's such a good way to support them too. I like that.
Most of the tech podcasts I listen to are Apple podcasts. So they all support Apple Pay. So I literally just hit the button, blam on the side of the phone, and it's done. Like, so I don't have to go find anything, search for anything. I just tap. And then obviously having a Mac, if I do it from Safari, it says, "Oh, do you want to use Apple Pay for this in the browser?" And I just approve it on my phone. It's the easiest thing. Makes it really easy to spend a lot of a lot of money.
Yeah, I bet.
But it makes it really, it's just one less hurdle to get through trying to support people, trying to buy t-shirts and stuff, when they're actually having sales on them. Because especially when you're independent, they don't have t-shirts all the time or even hoodies or whatever. It's just, hey, this time of year, a lot of times like August or September, I know someone's going to do a fun drive. So I was like, okay, well, let me put aside some money in June, July, so I can spend some money on something. At least help maybe buy someone a hamburger, a cup of coffee or something just to help. Because a lot of these, especially with a lot of advertising changing, it's I don't want to lose. If I can do anything that's like not lose these podcasts, especially because the comedians that aren't doing shows right now, they're gonna be fine. It's like they'll when they start doing tours again, it's gonna be fantastic. So it's like, okay, I'm not so scared. But for the podcasters, man, it's thin out there sometimes. So it's like, well, I'll go ahead and give them something because they entertain me way more than this $5 a month or whatever.
Hmm.
So
I love that. I'm so proud of you. I admire you so much.
I try.
Good kid. I have been trying to go to the farmers market more, and that's not like independent creators, but just supporting like super hyper local of like, oh, you live like in the same town as me. I'm gonna help out. And so I've been trying to go to the farmers market more, prioritizing buying at least vegetables from there. And if I go to like an art show in the area, one of my favorite pieces of art, and like the only thing anybody ever gets excited about in my room is this uh, print of a drawing of a bicycle with mountains in it. Like in the spokes of the wheels are the mountains.
Oh,
It's so cool. I really like this picture. And that was me very intentionally like finding this girl, finding this picture. And I still like debated because I'm so stingy. I don't spend money on anything. So if I'm going to spend money, I want to try to prioritize spending it on somebody who is making their livelihood on this. Try to.
absolutely.
Yeah. And that's been something during uh before we started going into reopening for COVID-19. And even now still, but we made it a big point in anytime we went out, we would try to go to a local restaurant. So we weren't ordering like Domino's or Wendy's or anything. We were ordering like the Greek place down the street or the teriyaki place on the other side of town that is like mom and pop. And they are doing it is on the other side of town. It's just a small town, okay? And I think it's funny that you're like, oh, it's so tiny. And I tell other people, I'm like, yeah, my town is a small town. They're like, our town's not that small. It's like a decent sized town. I'm like,
But it's not.
like it's it's not even a metropolitan statistical area. Like the government's not tracking it for anything other than it is a town and it grows.
And it has people in it.
Yes. That's literally about it.
That's hilarious.
But it's interesting. But yeah, speaking of supporting local businesses, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
So
Maybe we should eat.
I should eat. So we're gonna sign off. Yeah?
Yeah.
You cool with that? We're gonna finish here, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. You can find us on Instagram at Coffeeside Chats. There's not a lot up there yet. I'm working on it. And you can find us on Facebook and Twitter at Coffeeside Chat. And you can email us at coffeesidepodcast@gmail.com.
All right. Talk to you next time.
Talk to you next time. Bye.